Hey there, welcome to this video. What we're going to do now is look at the three fields that encompass UX. So UX is an umbrella term used to cover a couple of different sections of the UX kind of industry. So they can be broken up into three main groups. One is the UX researcher, okay? Another is being a UX designer, and the other one is a UX strategist. Now, if you're working in a small to medium-sized company as a UX designer, you're going to be expected to do all three of these. And it's kind of the focus of this class is to cover all three. But you might decide after doing this course that you really enjoy the UX research part, okay? And you might go off and stick to that. Or you might be a designer or a strategist. Now, yeah, smaller companies, you're going to be expected to do most of it. When you're working in a larger organization, they'll have full teams of UX teams, okay? And you can and you will be, a specialist in these one of these three different areas. So research is the kind of bit at the beginning and kind of goes out throughout the design process, and it's the more scientific. It's the testing, the checking, the probing is the research side. Okay, it's quite an analytical role, and you'll be doing things like the user research. Okay, that happens beforehand, before the designs get made, then doing the user testing and kind of working with the MVPs and the mock-ups and making sure those goes. You'll be doing things like surveys and interviews, looking at heat maps and eye tracking and all that kind of fun stuff. That's the research side. Now, as a designer, that's the more kind of creative side of UX, okay, the more artistic. So it's more of a kind of a craftsman role. Okay, you're going to take the stuff that the researcher gives you and kind of adapt that to become physical things. And there's a bit of gut instinct mixed with kind of observational stuff, things you've done before, some of your instincts, and some of your experience. But the cool thing about it is that instead of just doing design for design's sake, you're going to have a lot more kind of research to base and kind of like hone and direct your design work. And then you're going to get this lovely feedback loop. Now, if you've never done UX before, this feedback loop is pretty amazing. Whereas before, say, I started life as a graphic designer and it was great. I get to do stuff and I kind of send stuff out into the world. And I think it was great and it went into my portfolio, but that was it. I had no real kind of like measurement device to say, how good was it? Was it better than the last thing I did? Was it better than the guy next to me, or was it worse? Okay, so with the UX, I get to kind of make this stuff based on good research and then get it tested, okay? And have, things come back to me and iterate and change things to know if it was good or bad or got us close to what it was meant to do. Okay, so that's the design side of things. The next side is being a UX strategist. Now think of the strategist as it's more of a managerial, consultative, overseeing kind of a role. Like a creative director might be in an ad agency. They know the tools, they know how it's done, they've done it before, but now they act more as, they work with the business owners, they kind of have a high level responsibility, and they look deeper into the project and kind of see other things, okay, and question and push back and see if things align. So yeah, the UX strategist is definitely somebody who's a lot more experienced and has a good kind of business acumen as well. Now, what you'll find is that as a, say, UX designer, which I consider myself rather than a strategist or a researcher, is that you need to be able to do both. I love the research side, but I love more the design side. I love that kind of design process, and I love that there's a feedback loop with the research. But I'd be expected in pretty much all of my roles to do all three. Okay, is to kind of keep the job working, push back business goals, as well as the research and the design side of things. And you might find yourself in that role, or you might find yourself, you might be after doing this course, is you love the research side, but the design side doesn't really, it doesn't really excite you. So you're going to go down the kind of research side. So you can come at it both ways. Both sides are kind of the research or design sides. They're both really useful to the design process, but quite honestly, most people are expected to do a bit of both. All right, so that's it for the kind of three areas. Let's move on to the next video.